Rates have swung in many different directions in the past few months, and that's hard for people to keep up with. I mean,
I don't look at that every day.
No. When people feel educated, they feel empowered.
Hey, this is Shay.
And this is Carrie.
Welcome to the Pocket Change Podcast,
where you'll learn better ways to spend, save, and invest and take control of your financial journey. So our guest today is one of our mortgage champions, and she is on a mission. She wants to make education accessible and clear, and she wants to empower her buyers.
That's right. She's here to really walk us through and our listeners through, rates. So everyone's got questions about mortgage rates, buy downs, building their financial confidence. So I think our listeners really get a lot of good information out of this.
I do too. She's got some great advice. We're excited to welcome our guest, one of our mortgage champions, Kelly Jaunet Jones. Welcome to Pocket Change.
Great. I'm so excited to be here.
We're happy to have you here. So tell us a little bit about what got you into the mortgage business and why education is so important to you.
So I've been in the mortgage and real estate world for like 10 years now. Before I was at Leaders, I actually was the marketing director for a whole other mortgage company. And before that, marketing and business development director for a big team. And so marketing and business development has always been at my core. And I was starting to figure out that education was a really big part of my core value of what I wanted to keep doing. And so when Leaders reached out to me to see if I wanted to join the team, it was something that I told them, we can talk about this, but I want to keep with an education focus. I love teaching people, whether it's about mortgage or marketing or anything. And he was like, actually, fun fact, so are we.
Yes.
So it was a great alignment for me. And, but I've been teaching classes about marketing and Canva and home buying and all of that for several years prior to being at Leaders. And I'm so happy to be doing more of that here as well.
So what are some of the common questions you get about the home buying process?
I think the most common question I get about home buying is really what does this process look like? When people don't know what they're about to embark on, it can be a little scary. But really, the more that I've worked with people, the more I'm realizing that it's less about what does this process look like and more about, is this right for me? That's the core question of what they're trying to get at. They're looking to buy a house at some point, but they don't know if it's right for them, if it's right for their family, if the price is right, if the market is right. So for me, I like to lead with education. So instead of saying, you need to be in this kind of loan and this, it's more about, let's talk about it. What are your goals? What are the most important things to you? Is it not paying as much down payment? Is it having a decent monthly payment, something like that? And so we work from those angles, and I try and educate as best I can, because really when people feel educated, they feel empowered. And then all of that trust starts to build, because you're letting go of the smoke and mirrors that people think about mortgage, because it is so confusing. So I like to lead with education to build trust and then confidence in the people that I work with so that they can go out and make the right decisions for themselves.
That's great.
It really is, a huge process, and we only do it maybe a few times in our lifetime. So having that knowledge behind it really helps people make informed and confident decisions, like you're saying. So that's great.
So one of the biggest questions we all have right now are, what are the current rates, and will they go down anytime soon?
So yes, rate is the biggest question right now. It has a lot to do with payment. So people are very conscious about that. Rates have swung in many different directions in the past few months. And so it's hard to predict what it's going to do. Most of the time I tell people rates are tied to different economic factors like labor, inflation, CPI reports, all kinds of things like that. And that's hard for people to keep up with. I mean,
I don't look at that every day.
No,
I'm not looking at those reports.
I try to, but still, I'm not an economist. I'm a mortgage lender trying to help facilitate people make good decisions on home buying. So what I tell people is two things. One, if you're just wanting to look at what rates are, a lot of people say, well, look at the Fed rate. Well, that's not really the case. The Fed rate moves very rarely now. And when it does, it stays stagnant. So what should people look at? I have 2 tools that I always tell people to take a look at online. One is the Freddie Mac daily rate. It's always posted, and you can see what the historical rates and how it's dropped or increased over many sections of time. It's a good metric of kind of on average where things are. Another one that I like to tell people to look at for direction is the 10-year Treasury. So the 10-year Treasury is not necessarily tied to mortgage, but if you think they have similar core markets, investors that they go for. So they tend to go in similar directions. One of my favorite podcasters that I listen to, he often talks about the 10-year Treasury and mortgage rates as slow dancing. So they're always kind of together. They may be falling further apart or they may be going in closer, but they go in the same general direction. So those are the 2 places I tell people to look. But other than that, when people become super rate conscious and they go in for a rate and say they have X rate and they're like, gosh, that rate's high, that payment feels high. And so I tend to say, okay, what is ideal for you? And let's say they say, well, it would be 0.5 point less than what it is now. Okay, let's take a look at that. How would that 0.5 point decrease in a rate really affect your monthly payment? And I think a lot of times people are pretty surprised. If you're working in the higher sales prices, yeah, that's a significant swing. But if you're in a more moderate price, you could be talking about like a couple tens of dollars, like $20, $30. So my job is to say, this is what the difference would be. What decision would you make now knowing that? Does it make you say, oh gosh, I didn't know it was that much. Like I can do that. Yeah. Or do you say, you know what? No, that's my budget and that's it. So my job, again, is to take this information, educate people, help them understand what their limits are, and then they make the decision.
Yeah, that's really good.
Really good advice, yes. So can you explain to us a little bit about what buying down the rate is?
Yes. So that is a very popular topic right now because of where rates are. One is, I just want you to think about it, temporary and permanent. That's the main difference in those 2 buy down options. Permanent is exactly that. You have an amount of money and you can use that in closing, one-time dump into decreasing the rate. You can use that with seller contributions. You can use that with your own money. But what I tend to tell people is they don't realize that it can be a pretty expensive fee to buy down the rate. And that's across all lenders. So if you think about it, if it costs like $2,500 to go from a 6.5 to a 6.375, what is that difference? And then what is your break even on that investment? Because if it's not for like 5 years or even 3 years, do you think you're going to refi before that? I would hope so. So did you make the right call on using that money in the right way? Are you at the break-even point for that investment? Again, my job is to present those facts, those figures, and let people decide for themselves what makes sense. Now, the temporary buy down is something that a lot of people don't often hear about. It's really popular right now. A lot of realtors know about it and a lot of lenders know about it. But buying down with a temporary buy down is a big bang for your buck. So this is seller only money for the most part. Don't want to get into guidelines, but for the most part, it's seller only money. So what amount of money you're going to get from the seller and what can I do with it? So let's say you have money from the seller. You can basically take that money and for a set amount of years, because there's different kinds that you can do, you will decrease your monthly payment by 1 or multiple full points of interest. So it's possible you could save like $400 off of your monthly payment for a year, and then it steps down and steps down. It's dollar for dollar savings, and that money never goes away. Difference is permanent buy down, you refi, that money's gone. Temporary buy down, it's actually sitting in your escrow account. So you can take it just like your other escrow money, and you will always have that because it's yours.
Okay.
So big difference.
Yeah.
It's a lot people don't know about that.
Yes.
Those different options. So that's really
all
helpful.
those tools are helpful to know.
Yeah. So you're in the greater Memphis area serving that market. So tell us about Memphis right now. What's it like for buyers and sellers?
For buyers and sellers, it's really, it can be very area specific. It can also be very seasonal. When it comes to the holidays or school starting, it can be historically it has been maybe a harder time to sell. But it's much more area specific because in Memphis we have a very unique school structure.
Sure.
And so moving even a few minutes down the road could mean a completely different school, not just school zone, but like whole different school system.
Right. Okay. Municipal school. Yeah.
Right. And so people are very sensitive to that. And so it's different. I wouldn't say right now, but maybe seasonally, I guess in the last probably 6 months, I have seen a lot of sellers pay for closing costs, which is great for buyers. That doesn't specifically mean that it's a buyer's market because inventory is still sparse. But what it does mean is that there's a healthy amount of flexibility in the market. Sellers may not get full price offers and multiple full price offers on every single house in the area, but they do get kind of a healthy days on market. It's not like it's sold in 2 days. But I think that's good too because it brings balance to the buyers. They don't feel like they're so rushed like they have been years and years prior. So while some people say is it a depressed market or, is this a more even market? Again, it depends on who you are and what you want for your money.
Yeah, that's helpful to know.
Yeah, it's very helpful. So we know you have a marketing background and you enjoy teaching. Can you tell us a little bit about the classes that you teach?
Yes. So I started teaching during COVID. There was a real estate group, and they said, Kelly, we really need agents to learn more about marketing, and especially Canva. If you don't know what Canva is, I know you guys do, but Canva is a fantastic, accessible tool for people to use that have no graphic design experience. And a lot of times people with graphic design experience really like it because it can help you not have to recreate the wheel for every single thing that you do. So that was something that I had many years of experience with. And so they said, can you help come and teach some of our agents on that, plus your marketing strategies and how you kind of go through your marketing processes. And so I just put that to paper and started presenting that to so many offices. And then from that, I expanded to a couple of different classes on branding and things like that. And then once I got closer to the mortgage process, it was more like people need to know about this. Like this is tough, but it can be learned. Like agents need to know, people need to know. So I started creating classes for mortgage, and then all those classes became CE approved. And I got to teach those at the Memphis Area Association of Realtors, Central West Tennessee Association of Realtors. I've taught actually at the Baton Rouge Association of Realtors. Wow. So it's been really fun doing that. My most recent 2 classes that I've been approved for, which I'm really stoked about, is nerding out on mortgage here, is HFR. So HFR is actually a CE and certification class. So for realtors, when they get CE, some of the classes are able to be used in their kind of repertoire and marketing for things that they've achieved. So this class, HFR, is Home Finance Resource. So if they take this class and they pass the tests and everything, they become a certified home finance resource. It is 6 hours of stacked mortgage CE. And I'm one of the only kind of practicing lenders in the state that get to teach it, and there's not very many practicing mortgage lenders in the country that teach it. So having somebody that's in it and being able to give you actual real world scenarios and things that have happened has been really helpful to realtors. And I love bringing that to them too, because it's not just buyers that we work with, it's realtors too. And if they have, nervousness or reservations about it because they're not educated in it, it's hard to build trust with them too.
Right.
And we need a whole team aspect. So then we're working together on things for our buyers and not like this.
Right.
So it's been really great. And then the last one is Mortgage Math for Realtors. And I love that class. It is 3 hours of math. And it is anywhere from this easy stuff like loan amount to like basis points and discount points and things like that.
It's probably needed for everybody, not just realtors.
Yes, it is needed for everybody. I'd love to teach it to homebuyers too if they
sellers,
want
yeah,
it.
Exactly.
So I really, really am excited about this class. It's a really great accessory to any mortgage knowledge that you have. So excited to teach that.
All of those sound so helpful for realtors, but also as far as the Canva goes, I mean, it's such a useful tool for small businesses too. Absolutely. That doesn't have a graphic designer on staff.
I've taught some classes for small businesses, so chambers and just kind of like small business associations, and even like medical spas and anybody that has employees or even, contract workers that are responsible for getting their own business, they have to be online and have great graphics. So I love teaching that to really anybody. It's been fun.
That's
great. So if someone's been a lifetime renter and they're nervous to take the leap of buying a house, what's your top advice for them?
Yeah, my advice is find your baseline. It is scary and super vulnerable to have a conversation with someone for the first time about the reality of your financial situation. And I definitely understand how that feels. I talk to people every day like that. I think I've talked to 4 people just today that have had that same nervousness, and they just want to know where to start. At the very basics, I tell people, find somebody that you can have a conversation with. If you don't feel like you can have an honest conversation with someone, then move on. There's a lot of us. There's a lot of mortgage lenders. And even within one organization, you're going to have people of different personality types and different specialties. So find somebody that you can have a conversation with, and then find out where your baseline is. Just find out what is your credit score. Find out, what your actual qualifying income is and what that means and how that affects you. Find out really what kind of down payment you need in order to start the process. So, there are lots of options out there, and I think people just don't know because they're scared and they feel like, I'm not good enough for somebody to talk to because I don't even know what my credit score is, or I've done awful things to my credit before. Like, everybody wants you to win when you call, really and truly. So just have a conversation and someone you can keep talking to through this process, because you can get there. I promise you can.
That's great advice. Okay, so this is a financial podcast. So we like to ask our guests, what is the best piece of financial advice you've ever been given?
So the best piece of financial advice that I've been given is not very as education based as I usually get to. It's not a lot of dollars and cents. It really was starting young. I know not everyone has the privilege of youth, but if you do, you have no idea how powerful that time is.
It's true.
You can always look at like a compound interest calculator, but really, when my husband and I first got together, we didn't have like 3 pennies, okay? But we could work really hard and we wanted to learn. And so we found resources that would tell us like not where to invest, but like what kind of insurances do we need and what kind of plan do we need to get us to where we are. And sometimes we continued with 3 pennies to scrape together after all of our retirement contributions and short-term disability and long-term disability and all those things to make us feel secure. sometimes that plan and that future and that idea of us being more secure in the future was sometimes all that we had. And we continued to walk that together. And now we're to a point, I can't say that everything's perfect, but I do feel like I'm really proud of where we had. I'm proud of our younger selves for believing that we could get here.
You have peace of mind and security.
Exactly.
That's what you were looking
Exactly.
for. Yeah.
And so, and just a little piece of advice, even if you can save a little bit, a 529 college savings fund for your kids is worth every penny. It really, really is. Even if you could save just a little bit, $20,000, it's not going to be a huge, dump in the bucket for college what it is right now, but it gives you something. So just try a little bit when you're young and you will thank yourself so much.
That's right. And so finally, if you found some extra change in your pocket, what would you spend it on?
So I thought it would be skincare, but actually Memphis has gotten some really hot restaurants to come around in the last 5 months, and one in particular I'm really excited about. And so I would save my pennies for their upcoming caviar selection. Very excited. I'm not a caviar person, but I really want to try it. So just things to feel fun and excited, and just celebrate some wins. A place to do that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Kelly.
this is great.
I've enjoyed learning all of your advice, and I
you.
think our viewers will too.
Great. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in to the Pocket Change Podcast.
Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe, and check out our full episodes on YouTube,
The Pocket Change Podcast was brought to you by Leaders Credit Union.
where we power your passion and make lives better. Cha-ching! Thanks for tuning in. I'll start.
I think so. I don't know.
No,
Thanks
you-
for
you
tuning
start
into
it,
the
then
Pocket
I
Change
say,
Podcast.
Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe.
Pocket Change Podcast was brought to you. Oh, yep, that's right. All right.
Leaders is federally insured by the NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Learn more at leaderscu.com.